Sometimes two separate stories just fit together, and that's happened today in the case of Samu Omorodion, who of course is the Atletico Madrid striker, was on loan at Deportivo Alaves, and it appears that he's been very much pushing for a transfer permanently away from Deportivo. Now, we've been linked with him heavily. Big striker, big hulking 6'4", fast mobile striker. Actually looks perfect for David Moyes type football, funny enough. But we've been linked to him anyway. I don't want to pigeonhole him because he actually looks to have an awful lot of ability, and I'm quite sure that he would fit very, very well into Julen Lopetegui's side. But it's always difficult when West Ham are being linked with so many players. At what point do you sort of dismiss them? What point do you take rumours seriously? I mean, I was certainly guilty of maybe dismissing the Luis Guilherme rumours before they started. And, well, look, I mean, we've gone and signed him. So there is obviously going to be some rumours that turn out to be true. The interesting one with Omorodion is what Fabrizio Romano has said today, which is he's just confirmed within the last couple of hours that West Ham had a 35 million euro bid turned down for the player. Right, now, that in itself is interesting news. That's sort of heartwarming news, really, that we're looking to spend big on a striker. We've been told that. We've been told that a striker is a priority for West Ham. However, that's one part of the story. Here's the other part of the story. And when they fit together, it's really interesting because Romano said the bid was turned down from West Ham 2 weeks ago. Now, as I'm saying this, I need you to remember that Romano has got the ear of Tim Steidten. Which way round is it? Or Tim Steidten's got the ear of Romano. Whatever. Romano is the guy that breaks Tim Steidten's news a lot of the time. Now, so you've got to keep an eye on him. He seems to be first to these things. Tim Steidten would have told Romano if we weren't interested in Omorodion. That's just the case. Now, here's the interesting thing. 2 weeks ago, on when we were supposed to have made the bid, that is when Omorodion sacked his agent. Now, he actually came out with a public statement, and he used Fabrizio Romano as the vehicle to make that public statement. And he was very clear on the date. He said, I sacked my agent, I basically dismissed my representatives on the 29th of May. Now, looking at it now, what is it here? It's the 15th of June. Look, in most currencies, that's 2 weeks ago. I know it's a couple of days over, but that's 2 weeks ago, right? So I'm maybe putting two and two together here, but it seems to me that West Ham put in a bid for this player. Atletico Madrid rejected the bid, and then within almost instantly, Samu Omorodion has sacked his representative. He's basically doing a Nayef Aguerd here. What he's doing is he's sacking his representative in order to get a move. If you listen to his statement, if you read his statement, there is no doubt. There is no doubt that he is looking to facilitate a move. He's talking about his future. He's talking about his representatives not representing him in a way that he would like. And at exactly the same time, we're being linked with this player. I think it's really, really quite telling that within hours, Romano has not only been used as a vehicle to give Omorodion's statement. I mean, that's a weird thing for a player to do anyway, isn't it? I guess they would do it if they wanted to make a statement. Most don't. Most just shut up. But they'd probably do it on their own social media account. For him to give it to this sort of transfer in the know is a weird thing to do. So within hours, Omorodion's statement has gone out on Fabrizio Romano's Twitter page, and then within a couple of hours, Romano said, "Oh, by the way, West Ham had a bid turned down 2 weeks ago." I mean, it's. I don't know if you ever get a transfer rumour rubber stamped, but this is about as close as it's going to get, really, because clearly we now know that Fabrizio Romano knows Omorodion. He clearly knows about the transfer bid, and we know that he knows Tim Steidten. There's a lot of knowing going on here. So I can only conclude we definitely did make a bid. I mean, why would everything... It's not everything that Romano says is true, but a lot of stuff that he says about West Ham is accurate. Why would he say all that accurate stuff about the Guilherme, the flight over, all that other stuff, and then suddenly start telling porky pies now? He wouldn't. So I think it's reasonable to assume that this stuff is true. And if it is true, then we're ready to bid big, and we have bid big. That shouldn't be so hard to say, should it? For the striker. Now, what is interesting is the 2 weeks. So We haven't come back with a second bid within those 2 weeks. But clearly somebody at the club must be in contact with the striker. So reading between the lines, I think we're basically almost getting him to force the sale through. We know players can do this. I don't like it when it happens at West Ham. I just don't. I don't think it's a good thing to do. But sometimes in the modern world, you know what? At the end of the day, we're biased fans, aren't we? And we want what's best for our club. We want what's best for our team. This would be, I think he's 20. I think I've got to go. Yeah, he's 20 years of age. Was he? Yeah, born in 2004. He's 20 years of age. This kid. He's been in, a lot of the Spanish setups. He's been in Spain since he was a kid. Come through academies there. I think he was at Granada's academy actually. And if we were to buy a 20-year-old striker and an 18-year-old winger, there's really no doubt in what direction the club are going in here. I find it incredibly positive, this stuff. Now, I'm not going to pretend I've seen the kid play any more than we were linked to him. I do what everybody else does. I go and have a little look. Crappy old YouTube videos, listen to 30 seconds of dance music, which I never wished I'd listened to, another 30 seconds of him celebrating, giving everybody high fives, then you get to some goals and you get to some assists. He's a monster. He absolutely is. He's fast, he's big, he's powerful, he's fast enough. I don't mean he's the most lightning play. He's not going to be as fast as Guilherme, but he's fast enough and he's so big that even if there was a defender who was as quick as him, once he's in front of you, you're not going to get past him anyway because his strength and his bulk, his sheer size is going to make it difficult for anybody. This would be an exciting signing. There's no doubt about it. And it was interesting watching him. And you couldn't help but think how West Ham could have done with somebody like this at almost at any point over the last few years. That much is true. And you certainly couldn't help but think that David Moyes would have really benefited from having a striker like this. It is a bit weird seeing all this now. There's a little tinge of regret with me, actually. Thinking clearly there was money there. We were told it over on this channel by Kieran Maguire when Gio interviewed him. We were told that. So we knew there was money there. And I just think, had West Ham have invested this sort of money, or even just a little bit, it could have made the difference. It actually ended up, particularly after that first leg against, Leverkusen, it was quite close. We weren't a million miles away from qualifying for Europe. And, a couple of players could have stopped us tailing off at the end. So that's the regret. But the other thing is, what is so stark is what we're doing now. You must have all seen the pictures. You see Steiten pictured with Lopetegui loads. You've seen it. And then you also see the three of them. I say the three of them. Mark Noble as well. You keep seeing them pictured together. And looking at the direction, looking at what the club are doing, looking at the due diligence and listening to all the reports. I mentioned it the other day, all the reports that came out of Brazil and what Guilherme himself had said about West Ham going over there, Steiten going over there, Steiten going and visiting his parents and stuff like this, and Lopetegui not just meeting Steiten at the training ground, but meeting him at his hotel. There seems to be a due diligence, there seems to be a thoroughness, there seems to be a preparation, and a sort of cerebral way of going at these transfers it's in stark contrast to what happened with Calvin Phillips. I mentioned, I'm not going to repeat myself, I mentioned it the other day, but yeah, it's heartening. It warms the cockles, so to speak, to see that this is going to happen. So, there you go. Listen, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll probably do a double upload tomorrow. I'll probably do something after the England game, quite possibly. And in the morning, I've been trying to get my head around the basically the season, the whole season ticket stuff, and why everything's gone so pear-shaped with all the season ticket. I wanted to really get my head around what's gone on with the concession tickets and just basically try and break it down and just try and explain, particularly to people who maybe aren't in the UK or people who are not season ticket holders, why it's so bad, why West Ham fans are so annoyed at the moment at what the club have done on this. So, I'll be talking with Gio about that. We'll be going through that tomorrow morning and getting to the bottom of that and hopefully sort of explaining it in a... It gets very, very political, I find, that stuff. And when things get too political, I find a lot of people switch off. So, hopefully going to try and find out exactly what's going on there, exactly why people are annoyed, and just try and explain why it's so unfair what's happened to basically, you know, some of our oldest and longest serving fans and anybody that sort of wants to attend a game with their children and sort of try and nurture the next generation of West Ham fans. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Then, of course, we've got the England game. If I don't see you in the morning, happy Father's Day, everybody, tomorrow. And, yeah, I mean, watch this story closely. Samu Omorodion. I mean, they have dropped... he's just dropped so many hints today from Fabrizio Romano. So many hints. There's got to be something in it.